Today, we're going to talk about a promise that literally changed everything. We're talking about the incredible shift from an old, broken system to what's called the New Covenant. You know, there's this old proverb from Judah that says, "The parents ate sour grapes, and the children's teeth are set on edge." What a phrase, right? It just perfectly captures this whole culture that was drowning in generational blame. The mindset was basically, hey, the reason we're suffering is because of what our parents or their parents did wrong. And this feeling of, inescapable punishment, it really set the stage for a problem that was crying out for a new solution.
So, who's the guy who's going to deliver this new solution? Enter Jeremiah, often called the weeping prophet. And let me tell you, he had a lot to weep about. I mean, this guy lived through the final brutal collapse of his entire nation. He literally watched as the Babylonian Empire just rolled in, conquered Jerusalem, and dragged his people off into exile. It was a dark, dark time.
I mean, can you even imagine that atmosphere? Put yourself in their shoes for a second. Your home is gone, your people are captives, and you feel totally hopeless, like you're trapped by the failures of everyone who came before you. This wasn't just, a political defeat. It was a massive spiritual crisis. The people felt like God had abandoned them and that their whole identity was just one long story of failure. Okay, so to really get why this despair was so deep, we have to rewind a bit. We've got to look at the system they were already living under, what we call the old deal or the old covenant, and figure out why it wasn't working anymore. So first things first, what even is a covenant? The simplest way to think about it is like a formal treaty. It's a binding agreement, It defines the whole relationship. And for the people of Israel, their entire identity, who they were, was built on this covenant they had with God. Now, that original covenant, the one given through Moses way back at Mount Sinai, it was all based on the law. Basically, a big set of external rules written on stone tablets. The deal was pretty straightforward. Obey and be blessed, disobey and be cursed. But, and this is a big but, the people just couldn't do it. Through idolatry and constant rebellion, they broke it again and again. The thing is, the system itself wasn't flawed. It was actually a perfect mirror. And it did its job brilliantly by showing over and over that people just couldn't keep up their end of the bargain. But then, right there, in the middle of all the ruins and all that despair, God does something amazing. Through Jeremiah, he makes a radically new promise. And listen, he doesn't just promise to patch up the old system. No, he promises a complete spiritual upgrade. And this new deal, it was going to be fundamentally different. I mean, not at all like the old one. It was going to be internal, super personal, and built on this incredible foundation of total forgiveness. So let's break down exactly what that looks like. Okay, promise number one. This was a revolutionary shift. It was the end of the blame game. No more saying, my parents eat sour grapes, so I'm stuck. God says, nope. From now on, everyone is accountable for their own choices. This is huge. It means your past doesn't get the final say. Your choices right now are what truly matter. All right, promise number two is so cool. It's all about a change of address, really. The law moves from these cold, hard stone tablets to the warm, living tissue of the human heart. Think about that. This isn't about gritting your teeth and trying harder to follow external rules. It's about a deep internal transformation where you actually start to want the things God wants. And that changes everything. Your motivation shifts from fear of punishment to a genuine desire for connection. And here's the third promise. Honestly, this is the engine that makes the whole thing run. This new relationship is built on a staggering promise, complete and permanent forgiveness. It's not just that God forgives, it's that he chooses to forget. The slate is wiped clean, forever. This is the absolute core, the very heart of the new covenant. So let's go back to that comparison chart and fill in the other side. You see the difference? The new covenant isn't based on law. It's based on grace and truth. It's not written on stone. It's written on our hearts. It doesn't just demand obedience from us. It actually empowers a direct, personal relationship with God. And it can do all that because it's centered on his total forgiveness. The difference, it's literally night and day. Okay, so for centuries, this was a beautiful, powerful promise just hanging in the air. But how did it actually become a reality? Well, this is where we connect Jeremiah's ancient prophecy directly to the person of Jesus. This timeline lays it out so clearly. You've got Moses, who delivers the law. And that law really just revealed the problem, right? Then you have Jeremiah, who announces the promise of a future solution. And finally, Jesus arrives on the scene as the living, breathing fulfillment of that very promise. And look, the writer of the Gospel of John, he just makes the connection totally explicit. He draws a straight line. He says, yep, the old system, the law, that came through Moses, but the very essence of the new covenant, grace and truth, that arrived in the person of Jesus Christ. He spells it right out for us. And then Jesus himself confirms it. It's an incredible moment. At his final meal with his disciples, the Last Supper, he holds up a cup of wine and says this, meaning his sacrifice, his own blood, is what would kick off and seal the deal on that new covenant Jeremiah had promised all those years ago. So look, this is way more than just some dusty old history lesson. This is a real-time upgrade that's available to every single one of us, right here, right now. Which brings us to the really crucial question: how do we actually live in this new reality? Okay, here are 4 really practical ways to start. Number 1, take responsibility. Yeah, your past shaped you, but it doesn't get to define you. Your choices now do. 2, pursue a change of heart. Stop trying to white-knuckle your way through a bunch of rules and instead ask God to actually change your desires from the inside out. 3, embrace that direct access. You don't need a middleman anymore. You can talk to God yourself. And number 4, and this one's huge, accept the forgiveness. Seriously, if God has already forgotten your past failures, it's probably time for you to let them go too. So what's the bottom line here? It's this. The new covenant is maybe the greatest upgrade in human history. It's an upgrade from religion to a real relationship, from following rules to genuine transformation, from being weighed down by guilt to experiencing real freedom. And maybe best of all, it's an upgrade from that exhausting cycle of just trying harder to simply trusting in His power to work inside of you. So I'll leave you with this one final question to chew on. Just take a second and think about your own life. Are you still stuck trying to operate on the old system, just trying to follow the rules? Or are you actually living in the freedom of the relationship that this new covenant makes possible?